This is the narration on the integrative literature review on Pew's inter-rater reliability in EDs. Over here in the background portion, I have a quick review on what Pew's is in case you haven't worked in inpatient pediatrics as I have. It's a very common tool there. It's very similar to many other scoring techniques. The big thing is that it's so important in pediatrics because children have different standard vital signs at different ages. So a heart rate of 130 in a 2-month-old is not going to worry me at all, whereas in a 9-year-old, I'm going to be calling for an EKG. So using a tool like Pew's can be very helpful in determining how sick a child actually is. And historically, it's only been used at the bedside of inpatient pediatrics. I gave a sample of a Pew's table there. I really went to battle with PowerPoint to get that up there, but I felt you really had to see how the numbers would go up or down depending on how the vital signs were, how the patient presented. Beneath that description of the problem, we have some factoids about how it might be helpful in the ED. Then over under concepts is where we really get into the statistics of what it is I'm looking at. So we're looking at inter-rater reliability, and we got to talk about here what validity is and reliability is. And in that pretty yellow circle in the top center, it's oblong, it discusses how Pew's has been deemed to be a valid tool through many inpatient studies, but its reliability in the ED is unknown. Its reliability is having it be used consistently. And so one of the ways we can determine if it's being used consistently is by looking at the psychometric measurement of inter-rater reliability. Psychometrics, an example of psychometrics is an IQ test. So you're measuring behaviors. So inter-rater reliability would be the behavior of obtaining the same score between different people. And then you can statistically analyze this through different frameworks such as interclass correlation coefficient or ICC, or the Kappa statistics. And then in those pretty green circles, I talk about the differences a little bit between ICC and Kappa statistics. The most important thing though is in that yellow circle in the middle where it says both statistical measurements seek the unattainable perfect score of 1.0, which represents 100%. And that's just so you know that a 0.9 would be good for either statistical framework. And then, of course, my question of research would be, for pediatric patients in the ED, will the use of Pew's demonstrate high good or low bad inter-rater reliability? Beneath that, we get into how the research was done. We all had the same design, the databases, the terms I used. And then over on the far side, you see my methods table. It's just a sample methods table because the actual methods table is way too big for this. But this is literally what I did, where I would search for two terms together like ED, and up here I have pediatric early warning signs, and you see the total number of studies or articles I got from the different databases, and then ones were removed that were not relevant, and then redundancies were removed. And doing this repeatedly through the different search term combinations in the different databases, I eventually obtained 229 articles, which is demonstrated beneath that in how I synthesized the data, which is demonstrated in this flow chart. I started with 229 articles, and then when I whittled it down to articles that are relevant to inter-rater reliability, I was down to 15. And then from that, I went from 15 down to 4. And 15 to 4 was inter-rater reliability and also looking at Pew's and ED. There are many factors to determine its relevance here. Beneath that, there's my evidence table. There was no getting that legible. I tried. And I looked at all 4 articles in detail, trying to determine what was being seen in these articles. And basically, one reported moderate inter-rater reliability, another one reported good, and 2 reported excellent inter-rater reliability. But this really can't be deemed to signify good or excellent inter-rater reliability of Pew's in the ED because there's 2 different frameworks being used, and it all have to be analyzed by the exact same statistics, and also because 4 studies is just not enough. And then beneath that, I have my conclusion, which is what I just said, that basically we're lacking enough information to really have anything conclusive. So this study is inconclusive. It's still a great tool at the bedside. more research is needed. It was also really interesting that there was a lot of research being done in how valid Pews is, which was bizarre to me because it seems like it's already valid. I feel like we're doing this backwards, maybe. And that's just a maybe because I'm new at this. Well, thank you very much for listening. Have a good night.